talk about gaslighting, shall we? I'm going to go ahead and read you the comments and then give you the whole backstory and even some video clips so that you can see what it looks like up close and personal, in action, in writing. Let's get into it, shall we? Just for context, now hold on. This person, Kimberly, I'll address her by name. Kimberly, on a video where I was talking about, was it worse or was it better when your parent showed up, your narcissistic parent? The video is very clearly labeled what type of parent. Was it better if they showed up or not to an event, like a school event or something like that? And I'm going to play those videos so that you can see so that you can see for yourself what somebody trying to gaslight me looks like and how this whole thing rolls out. And this is very narcissistic traded speak. It's that language that so many of us grew up with. So I'll also give you a little warning that it might put you a bit on edge. There's words I'm trying not to say because videos get suppressed over certain words, I'm finding. And I want to make sure that this reaches as many people in our community as it possibly can. Whoa! Or is it whoa-wah? Anyway, whoa, we'll go with that. I don't know your life story. It was in reference to the video I watched and don't even remember what it was now. This and your mug to my comment is overkill. Do you like this one better? I hope so. Or, you know, I've got water, lemon water, all sorts of things going. That was the other one that I used. So you don't like that one. Okay. So we'll just keep using this one then. I hope you start to heal soon. It doesn't seem that you're there yet. She was nasty. Not sure what you call this. Also, would like to say I wasn't being malicious to you at all. I'm sorry it struck a chord with you. Wasn't my intention at all. Perhaps I heard it differently, but to say I defend child abusers is very harsh and that's not okay. I think you could have been a little lighter on your explanation. I wasn't attacking you. I would like it of you untagged me, but obviously your decision. I need another drink. If you can't remember the video that you made the comment on, then how do you know what your intention was or wasn't? Like, your memory seems to be very selective. I mean, you can click your own comment to go back to the video so that you could have responded to this with knowledge. Do you know how these platforms work? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I've got to kind of review because I want to make sure that I get you point by point. So let me go back here. You hope I start to heal soon. Babe, this is what healing looks like. My not being able to be gaslit by you or anybody else. I grew up, as you know, from the one video that you watched, underneath a mother who is a sociopath and a narcissist. What do you think that might look like? I feel like you relate to her. And the reason I feel like you relate to her is because in that video, when I was explaining or giving one of my experiences when my mother showed up and she was, well, let me play the video so that people understand. I'm curious about something. What was worse for you when your narcissist parent, I'm just going to put it in mom form because it was my mom, showed up to your school or an event or whatever, or when she didn't show up? Which was worse? I used to go to summer camp every year and spend 8 weeks at Sleepaway. And I loved it because it meant, obviously, that I didn't have to be in my mother's house and that I had Groundhog Day. Like, every day was the same, but for the activities, which I really enjoyed. There was no minefield. It was all very stable. And those were some of the best times in my childhood until visiting day. So if my mother didn't show up, which was usually the case, and I watched all the other kids with their moms and their dads, and I went to summer camp with my cousins at some point. So sometimes I had my aunts, sometimes I had my aunts and my uncle, maybe my brother would show up, but my mother would not be there. She would be absent. And I felt like all the other kids knew that I wasn't good enough for my mother to show up for. That's how I internalized that. Like they were going to see me for who I really was, someone with zero value. If she did show up, well, that was a different kind of hell. Normally the day would be spent with her berating me for the condition of my bunk, it not being neat enough. She would tell me how she forgot to bring like the candy that she bought and all this stuff. So she would, like when she would leave, I would have nothing because my aunt wouldn't have brought for me, thinking that my mother was going to do it. So all the other kids are having their goodies. But the worst part about it was how she compared me to the other little girls. If there was a little girl who was smaller than I was, slimmer than I was, she would make a point to say to me, Marnie, look at her body. Don't you want to look like that? And so on that video, you make a comment, she couldn't win whether she did it or not, whether she showed up or not. How is that you not standing with an abuser? How is that you showing empathy or understanding for the child who was being emotionally violated? You stood with my mother in that comment. And then you're making comments about my healing. Literally, this is what healing looks like. Because before I was in a place where I loved myself and valued myself, someone like you or a comment like yours would have shaken me to my core, because it would have made me feel like I was doing something wrong, because my mother taught me that I was always doing something wrong. And it would have put me in a place of self-doubt. Well, maybe she didn't mean it, and go through that whole thing. Because if my mother told me that the sky was green and I looked at it and saw that it was blue, I would believe what she said over my own eyes. This is what healing looks like. You don't have, people do not have the ability to shake me into that kind of self-doubt anymore. And the reason I'm responding to you is not for you. It's for all the people out there to see that we can take on and defend ourselves without going on the defensive, and to be able to understand that this is what gaslighting actually looks like. Because I think sometimes there's some confusion around that. You could have said any number of things. You could have said, I apologize, it seems that I've struck a chord, and left it there. Or, yeah, now that I look at what I said, I could see how you would feel that way. You could have taken ownership of it, but I don't think you know how to do that. Or I don't think you choose to do that. Which means, guess what? That you're still standing with my abuser. And therefore, you stand with child abusers. Now let's get into the rest of the comment. Okay, so the part where you say, you don't know my life story, you didn't need to know my life story. That one video was pretty self-explanatory. If you were in any way curious before you went onto the keyboard and opened up your big mouth, really, through the keyboard, if you had any sort of curiosity, you would have looked at some of my other videos, and you're following me. So, really, that's the only video you've seen? I literally have over 1,000 videos up. I've been doing this for 5 years. There's pinned videos that give, some backstory, some reference. You could have shown some curiosity before making a very irresponsible comment, because you stood with somebody who abused me. My page, But She's Your Mother, it says that we are here for survivors of narcissistic abuse, and actually I'm a therapist That's who I help. That's my specialty. But you didn't do that. You could know my life story, or at least the part of my life that I talk about, which is kind of most of it, really. Anywho, you didn't mean to attack me? Is that what you said? Let's see. You weren't being malicious. Standing with a child abuser is being malicious. It wasn't your intention to strike a chord. And that I'm being very harsh, and that I could have been lighter on my explanation. Oh, which mug? Which mug? Which mug? Which one? Which one? Which mug do you think I should use, folks? Which one? I'm going to leave it there. I'm a little speechless. It wasn't your intention. What was your intention?